In this video, we will study the nature of the mythological character Narada and King Yudhishthira and the conversation that took place between the two. This topic is a newly added topic, so let's begin. As you would know, Narada was a sage, and as per the traditions, he carried out delivering wisdom. That is, he would engage with people, and during that conversation, he would deliver wisdom and help other person realize it. He is a part of a number of literatures. For example, in the Ramayana, he warns Ravana. In Mahabharata, he questions the King Yudhishthira, which we will study later. Likewise, the Puranas mention the story of Narada's spiritual enlightenment. Narada has also named two literatures after him, that is, Narada Purana and Narada Smriti. Therefore, you can easily understand the importance of this character. Narada, as per mythology, is also believed to be the expert on Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Angas. Angas are the limbs of the Vedas. There are 6 Angas, that is, phonetics, poetry, grammar, etymology, instructions on rituals, and astronomy. As a result, he is regarded, or rather worshipped, for his vast knowledge, his knowledge on logic, politics, religion, dharma, and moral science. He is also regarded as an eloquent and possesses sharp memory, even after possessing the knowledge of the whole wide universe. He is regarded as the master of the 2 schools of Indian philosophy, that is Sankhya and Yoga, both being the orthodox schools. Now, Narada meets King Yudhishthira 2 times. The first time when Narada visits Yudhishthira was when he guided him and the Pandav brothers to establish a protocol or a rule of exclusivity with their common wife, that is Draupadi. The second time when Narada visits Yudhishthira, he asks him a number of questions on the duties of a king and on Raj Dharma. Now this is the topic that we have to study in detail. Narada asks Yudhishthira a couple of questions. Some of them are: do you experience happiness without mental agony? Are your chief officials entirely devoted to you? What are the 6 royal duties? What are the king's duties? Are you using the wealth of your kingdom for good causes, etc.? Narad asks a total of 10 questions to Yudhishthira. Now, when you study these 10 questions in detail, you would understand that the nature of these questions deal with some very important topics or concepts such as the Raj Dharma, the Dharma of the king, the questions on jurisprudence, the questions on governance, and likewise the questions on virtues, communication. Basically, in entirety, we can understand that the nature of the questions asked were pertaining to the concept of Raj Dharma, or the ideal way of ruling the kingdom. Now, as per Narada, the objective of asking these questions was not just limited to inquiring into King Yudhishthira's knowledge. Rather, it was invoking the ideas into him of always giving due importance to governance, that is Raj Dharma concept, jurisprudence, etc. Basically, he wanted to inquire that whether or not he knows the ideals that are needed for being a ruler. Along with that, the personal capabilities of the king, the king's personal habits, the mental health, etc. were also given due consideration. Now, when you study these 10 questions in detail, these are the concepts which are derived from those 10 questions itself. It is also important to note that the medium of the conversation was dialogue based. Dia means 2 and log means conversation. The questions asked by Narada are rhetorical and stylistic in nature. Therefore, we can easily say that it was not just one-sided questioning, rather both the participants were questioned by each other. Narada questioned King Yudhishthira, and in return, Yudhishthira also questions King Narada. Therefore, if we sum it up, we can easily say that This entire conversation or this entire dialogue between these two people was mainly concerned with not just to inquire or judge the king's knowledge, rather help the king understand the gravity of his position, the power he holds, its relevance, and the complexities that come along with the position of power. Like we said before, it is not just one sided questioning, it was also questions raised from both the sides. Now, we have already discussed the questions that were raised by Narada to King Yudhishthira. Now, let's understand the questions Yudhishthira raised to Narada. So, here you have to understand an incident which occurred in the court of King Yudhishthira before he got onto the throne. So, the story goes like King Yudhishthira performed the famous Rajasuya Yagya, where a number of sages and kings were participators. So there, Lord Krishna was bestowed with the highest honor. There's another character in this story whose name is King Sisupala. So King Sisupala was extremely unhappy with the amount of honor that was given to Lord Krishna, and he was extremely unhappy with bestowing the highest and the special honor to Lord Krishna and got rattled up. This showed his unpleasantness in the most despicable manner. As a result, Lord Krishna killed him and he merged with the Lord and attained moksha. So, this result that he was killed by Lord Krishna and then he also merged with Lord and attained moksha is the incident that filled Yudhishthira's mind with a lot of questions and he had no answers to. So, he questions Narada. Yudhishthira questions Narada on how King Sisupala could merge with the god and attain moksha even after showing such harsh contempt or hatred against the god in the first place. He even cites an example of another king named Kamsa who was equally wicked, who also cursed Lord Krishna equally and was awarded a place in hell. So basically, Yudhishthira was perplexed with the binary treatment that was shown upon the two equally wicked kings who spoke ill of God, that is Krishna. Narada offers the explanation to King Yudhishthira's replies. He says the reason why the two kings were awarded such different fate, or one of them merged with God and the other went to hell, is because the nature of their actions performed by them. Now, this basically means there are different roads that take us to the same destination, that is moksha. So, King Sisupala, however, spoke ill of God, but he showed no dubiousness or no doubt in his actions towards his hate for Lord Krishna. So, basically, he hated him throughout. And then, in spite of his actions of hate and wickedness and speaking ill about the god, he was merged with Lord Krishna and attained moksha because even through all that hate, he constantly remembered the name of the god. As a result, he was liberated because of the merit or the punyas or the good deeds that he accumulated due to his remembrance of Lord Krishna all the time. On the other hand, King Kamsa, that we discussed, who was cited as an example by King Yudhishthira, ended up in hell because he was constantly remembering the god, not because of his hatredness or because he spoke ill about the god, but because he feared God. So the story goes that he was awarded hell to cleanse his sins. So why this? Narada basically tries to explain King Yudhishthira that there are numerous ways to attain the final destination, that is moksha or merging with God. So some of the important things to note in this presentation is the importance of governance, the importance of the character of the king, the dialogue that happened between the two and the questions and the nature of the questions raised, and also the story of the King Sisupala and King Kamsa, the concept of deeds, and lastly the concept of moksha. Question 1. Narada raises questions to King Yudhishthira. The nature of the questions were? The answer is rhetorical. Narada questions to King Yudhishthira. The nature of the questions were rhetorical in nature. Question 2. There are dash angas of Vedas. The correct answer is 6. There are 6 angas or the limbs of the Vedas. They are Siksha, that is called phonetics, Chandas, that is called poetry, Vyakarna, that is called grammar, Nirukta, that is etymology, Kalpa, instructions or rituals, and lastly Jyotisha, that is astronomy.